We're going to get into a little football coming up here in just a moment with Ian Castleberry from Barrett Sports Media, who joins us right now on the DC Creasman Jewelers Wise Lines. And Ian, great to have you. Of course, we got some baseball to get to. Hope you're having a good day and hope you had a great Easter weekend.
Yes, on both. Hope you guys are doing well.
We are. Great to have you, man. Mondays, I got Charlie in with me. I got this Monday lineup, man. It is all good. I know you've got a question for Charlie coming up at the end of the segment, so we'll get rolling with it right now. Starting with baseball, Ian, why is the Ricketts family, who owns the Cubs, by the way, pulled their offer to buy the Chelsea Soccer Club?
Well, the politically correct answer, or the unclear answer, is that unusual dynamics around the sale process, quote unquote, is the reason that the Ricketts family ownership group pulled out of a bid for the Chelsea Football Club. Now, there's also been some fan outrage looking at remarks made 10 years ago by Joe Ricketts, who's the Ricketts' father. And he made some racist remarks regarding Muslims and Islam. And there was a lot of fan outrage about that. But from all accounts, that is not the reason why the bid is not going through with Chelsea. This also would not be a reason, but I imagine a lot of Chicago Cubs fans would be really upset with the Ricketts buying Chelsea and having the money to put forth such a bid after they completely tore down what was a championship team.
Yeah.
With the Cubs, trading Javier Baez, trading Anthony Rizzo, trading Chris Bryant, and coming back with a competitive team, but it traded some very popular, some cornerstone players. But from all accounts, I don't know how much we're actually going to find out about this. There are just circumstances that the Ricketts family just couldn't abide by, and maybe the board of directors with Chelsea couldn't abide either.
Yeah, and that's interesting. Of course, the comments are one thing. But my first thought was, Charlie, like, oh, man, Cubs fans are going to be like, oh, great. So now we're going to be like this. We're the middle child. And we're the youngest child or the oldest child, right? You're all going to give all your attention to the newborn. I'm glad this isn't happening, honestly. And, and I'm sure Cubs fans are relieved. But who knows the next big club that comes along. But that was my first thought, was Cubs fans would be like, oh, great. Now we've got it's like the older kid, like, oh, great. I got a younger sibling. I don't like you right now.
They'll start selling soccer jerseys in the clubhouse.
Yeah, man. Oh, my gosh. What an interesting story there, the Ricketts. But it just goes to show, Cubs fans, how much money he has. So next time, maybe you want to get him to do a little more improvements to Wrigley Field. The money is there. He's literally going after, like, one of the most expensive sports teams in the world. All right, Ian, let's move into on the field. How is last year's AL MVP, Shohei Ohtani, coming along like the first week and a half of the season?
Shohei Ohtani's been off to a slow start, but it's worth pointing out that we are in very early days of the season, just over 1 week. So in two of Shohei Ohtani's first three games, he went 0 for 4. So that's, of course, this early in the season, that's going to plummet a batting average. And he goes into tonight with a 227 average. But in his past three games, he's really come on. He's hit three home runs, 6 RBI. He appears to be coming on, but he was off to a slow start, 3 for his first 21. I don't know if you guys saw it, but maybe some of the listeners saw it. There was a really funny video with Shohei Ohtani administering CPR to his bat, or trying to in the dugout, which is a really funny video if you search for that. So it shows that he's still got a good attitude about everything. We have to remember too, Shohei Ohtani is also a pitcher, and he was very good in his first start. He allowed 1 run over 4 1/3 innings. But then his second start, facing the Texas Rangers, he allowed 6 runs in 3 2/3 innings. So now, his ERA skyrocketed from that. He's got a 7.56 ERA, but he's striking out batters. His 14 strikeouts in 8 innings, only 3 walks. So the numbers don't look great right now, but I would say it's very early days.
Well, you're doing double duty. It's not always easy.
Is part of that because of spring training cut down, Ian, do you think?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And I mean, we don't know, what is spring training like for someone like Shohei Ohtani, where he has to prepare as a hitter and as a pitcher. If he has trouble getting his timing as a hitter, does pitching take away from that? Pitching's been a big concern, or the length, building up stamina. getting enough innings, building up that arm strength. I think that's a concern for every pitcher, and certainly would be for Shohei Ohtani. So I absolutely think that's a factor.
Yeah. Ian Castleberry joins the Wise Guys via the DC Creasman Jewelers Wise Lines. We're talking baseball, but we're going to be hitting a little USFL with Ian's Michigan Panthers here in just a moment. But first things first, Ian, is Trevor Bauer coming back to the Dodgers after all of this with these sexual assault charges?
Trevor Bauer appears intent on pushing the issue and intends to rejoin the Dodgers, but I don't think the Dodgers want anything to do with Trevor Bauer. They've been content to let Major League Baseball handle this, and Major League Baseball has been sort of content to let the legal process play out. They put him on administrative leave, which has been extended through this coming Friday, April 22nd. He's getting paid, Trevor Bauer, during that time, but there are rumblings that Bauer could decide to challenge this administrative leave, and whether or not it's a binding agreement, meaning whether it's something that both the Players Union and Major League Baseball agreed to. If he decides to challenge it, that could put Rob Manfred, Major League Baseball commissioner, on the spot and force him to make a decision on whether or not to suspend Trevor Bauer. And they could still suspend Trevor Bauer, even though the LA County District Attorney's Office decided not to press charges or pursue charges against Trevor Bauer. Under Major League Baseball's domestic violence policy, they could still issue a suspension. So this is something that could end up going to an arbitrator to decide. And it could get pretty ugly. But, the Dodgers, of course, I think want this, to just go away quietly. But if we're talking the real world, are you depriving Trevor Bauer of a right to make a living versus there's nothing saying he can't make a living, just he can't make a living playing Major League Baseball. As we've talked about, even if baseball clears him to play, and the Dodgers decide, okay, we're just going to release him. Now, I don't know any other team that would risk signing Trevor Bauer right now. Just do a Google search on Trevor Bauer. That's not something you want anything associated with any player on your roster with. So I think he probably does have a case. He has a contract, but baseball, especially with this antitrust exemption, gets to play by some different rules than conventional businesses in the real world.
Man, stand by for this one. This is ongoing and still developing. As Ian Castleberry joins the Wise Guys for a Major League Baseball update. And Ian, did I read this right? Charlie, I don't know if you saw this. Ichiro's ceremonial first pitch for the Mariners clocked at 93 miles an hour.
Holy cow.
There is some disagreement about that. Now, the Mariners clocked it at 93.6 miles per hour, Ichiro's first pitch, on their radar gun, in which case you're wondering why isn't Ichiro part of the Mariners bullpen right now as an active player. It was a really cool moment. Ichiro went out there. If anyone saw the video, he was in full uniform, went on the rubber. He wasn't standing at the front of the mound like most first pitches. He threw a real pitch. But the Major League Baseball, their StatCast data measured Ichiro's pitch at 84.5 miles per hour. Still very good, but not like, wow, 94 miles per hour. So, there is some discrepancy. I think officially, if such things are officially tabulated, that we're going to go with the Major League Baseball clock at 84 or 85 miles per hour.
Still, though, why not just kind of throw it in there like...
I've never seen a first pitch like that. I got to look this up, Ian.
Yeah, or like me, bounce it in the ground a couple of times before it hits the catcher's mitt, if it's accurate enough. That was mind-blowing. Ichiro just showing just how competitive.
Yeah, Charlie. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
All right, so Ian Castleberry joins the Wise Guys. And, of course, on the DC Creasman Jewelers Wise Lines. All right, Ian, here we go. The USFL 2022 debuts. Your Michigan Panthers fall short against Houston. And, Ian, the struggle is real for the USFL. Can Shea Patterson and Paxton Lynch turn it around for your Panthers?
Well, I gave up on that game after the first quarter because the Michigan Panthers offense looked like it was incapable of running any sort of pass play. I was excited about the Michigan Panthers, and I think a lot of fans my age feel the same way. When the USFL first launched, the Michigan Panthers won the first USFL championship in 1983, and for a Detroit area that has been starved for decades for good pro football, they love the Panthers. Anthony Carter, University of Michigan, was a receiver on that team. Bobby Hebert, who listeners might remember from the New Orleans Saints, was their quarterback. So this was a big deal at the time in Michigan. And there's still been a lot of affection for the Panthers because of that. But this version of the USFL is not that. This is very much a developmental spring league, and I think we saw that with some of the football. Certainly with the Panthers Gamblers game. I know the game between the Generals and I'm going to forget the Birmingham
Stallions. Birmingham
Stallions. That turned into an exciting game at the end, but early on that was a struggle as well. So I know the ratings were pretty good. Nearly 3 million viewers. It was a Saturday night's game, was on Fox and NBC, which was interesting as the first simulcast broadcast in Super Bowl I. I guess that speaks to how popular football is, that two networks are willing to shake hands on this and show the same game at the same time. But after the curiosity of that first week, how long is that going to last with TV viewers?
That's the question we were talking about earlier in the show, honestly, at that point. And, that's kind of, we were talking about 2.9 million total viewers, again, split over those two networks, NBC and Fox. And mixed when you put into context. On one hand, it was higher ratings than two of the NBA playoff play-in games, but fell short of the XFL's debut a couple of years ago at 3.2 million viewers. And in the AAF, by the way, which Shoop was a consultant on back when they were trying to put that together, 2.7 million viewers in 2019. Spring football has never made it on TV. They've tried, and they keep trying again. Again, we'll wait. I'm not hopeful for it, but we'll wait and see. They're committed to a season. They got to make this happen. But is the money going to come out of it? I mean, there was no one at the stadium, virtually no one at the stadium in Birmingham yesterday. That was incredibly embarrassing. I'm surprised the networks kept shining, putting the camera on the stadium, because you could see, like, holy crap, is like Birmingham in a lockdown right now. That's kind of what it felt like at that point.
Yeah, I know there was weather in the area, but yeah, I saw that crowd and I thought, geez, I think there were more people when I was at breakfast at the Cracker Barrel gift shop yesterday than in that stadium. I mean, it was stunning to see how busy or how empty it was. And I know they were playing 3 games in the same stadium. Maybe that had something to do with it. Of course, there were weather issues. The night game wasn't even played because of that, but yeah, that is. They might want to retire that drone until some more people start filling.
Yeah, I know. And of course, Jeff Fisher's backwards baseball cap is getting a lot of response on Twitter these days.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys feel. I feel like once you turn 30, the cap shouldn't turn backwards unless it's somehow physically necessary not to have that bill in front of you.
I think he just realized, I'm now a head coach in the USFL. No one's here at the stadium. This sucks. I'm just putting my cap. It's time to put the cap backwards right now. Make it happen. That's a drop for Jeff Fisher to be coaching professional football, and there's virtually no one in the stands. Now, you got the TV viewership. That was good, but that just has to impact things. It's just there was no energy when I was watching it yesterday. I watched it for just a short period. I will tell you that, but it's like, I can't take this anymore. It's just
Jeff
boring.
Fisher, 64. You think he's trying to be youthful there?
Relate to the players.
Yeah, that's definitely what I thought. It reminded me of, I don't know if you remember the Seinfeld episode where George Costanza turns his cap around because he wants to be cool like Dan Cortez. That's what it reminded me of. Hey, since we're talking about coaches, Charlie, I want to pick your brain real quick on this because the Panthers, they benched Shea Patterson, I think, after the first 2 series because he was having trouble, it seemed like, handling the snap or doing too much. But I'm just wondering, as a coach, whether it's an individual position coach or a coaching staff, like, what are the red flags that come up that make you think, okay, we got to make a change here, even if just for one series with a quarterback?
Quarterback's a weird position, Ian, because it's all or nothing. You're either the star or you don't. If you're the backup, you don't get on the field. But now, I used to alternate quarterbacks in JV football for years in High Point and in Asheville. We would be fortunate enough to have a 9th grade quarterback, a 10th grade quarterback, and I'd alternate series with them. And it was just, hey, it's automatic. This this is what we're going to do. And that was more to develop kids. But sometimes the red flag goes off. We were in a game in Hendersonville, and our quarterback got hurt, and we put in the guy that's the backup who was a good athlete and a good player, but we're behind and having to throw it every down. That was not suited to him. He had 2 series and didn't perform well, and you think it's just not fair to put him in that situation. The third team quarterback was a JV kid that could sling it, and so we put him in, and he slung it around and did a good job, and later on had to answer the questions with the backup and his parents about, why did you pull him after 2 series, and the answer was, we thought we had put him in a situation that he wasn't prepared to handle, that didn't play to his strengths. And so we got him out of there. And I don't think that made them happy, but I loved the kid. He was a good player, ended up playing in college, didn't play quarterback, but was a college player and stuff. But he was just in a situation that we thought he couldn't handle.
Ian, we got to run. We're right up against the clock, my man. No, not at all. Great question, great answer. Ian, have a great one. We'll catch up on Thursday.
Okay, looking forward to it. Thanks.